Inside a rock face dated to the 8th millennium BC, geologists found a machine. Read that again. A machine, 10,000 years old. You are high in the Zagros Mountains of Iran, a place of stark, wind-carved beauty. An international team of geologists is drilling core samples. They are reading the layers of ancient sediment like the pages of a book, charting 1,000,000 years of climate change. The work is precise, predictable, until day 47. At a depth of 12 meters, the drill bit, forged from tungsten carbide, screams a high-pitched protest. The entire rig shudders violently. Then, a sickening crack echoes across the valley. The drill is broken. Dr. Eris Thorne, the expedition leader, has been drilling into rock for 30 years. He knew in that instant this was not rock. They painstakingly retrieved the damaged core sample, and there, frozen in time, was the culprit. Embedded within the perfectly preserved layers of sedimentary limestone, a dark, metallic object. It wasn't a random meteorite fragment. It wasn't a natural iron concretion. This object had straight edges, a surface polished to a dull sheen. It was an artifact. The surrounding limestone was dated using optically stimulated luminescence, a method that measures the last time sediment was exposed to sunlight. The results were unequivocal: 10,200 years old, plus or minus a century. This places it at the very dawn of the Neolithic period. Think about what that means. This is a time when humans were just beginning to experiment with farming. Their most advanced technology was a sharpened piece of flint. They were not smelting alloys. They were certainly not whatever this is. The team's official report, filed with the Iranian Ministry of Heritage, logs the find as a unique metallic inclusion. But a private email Thorne sent that night tells a very different story. He wrote, and I quote, "I have found something that rewrites every chapter of human history." The official story and the private one were already worlds apart. Why the immediate deception? What were they so afraid of from the very beginning? Getting it out became an obsession. They couldn't just smash the rock. That would obliterate the artifact. For 3 agonizing weeks, under a punishing sun, the team used delicate diamond wire saws. They carved a 1-ton block of stone out of the cliff face, millimeter by millimeter. Their hands bled. Their nerves were shredded. Every vibration could be the one that turned this impossible discovery into a pile of worthless dust. Finally, in a secure tent that served as a makeshift lab, they began the final delicate excavation. As the last layers of stone fell away, a complex assembly was revealed. It was not just a single piece. You are looking at a series of interlocking gears and plates, no larger than your palm, as intricate and purposeful as the mechanism of a 19th century Swiss watch. But it was found in rock from the last ice age. They needed to know what it was made of. A portable X-ray spectrometer was brought in to identify the elements. The analysis was fast. The result was impossible. The main body was a complex bronze alloy, thousands of years ahead of its time. But that wasn't the disturbing part. The gears contained trace elements in a ratio that has never been found in any natural ore deposit on Earth. The rock is from our world, but the metal might not be. It's from our world, but the metal might not be. This startling conclusion that the metal's composition defied terrestrial origins plunged Dr. Eris Thorne's team into a new kind of mystery. You might think this sounds like science fiction, but the X-ray spectrometer does not lie. Its readings were clear. The gears, the intricate heart of this tiny mechanism, contained elements in ratios never observed in any known earthly ore deposit. This data was not just unusual, it was impossible, according to our current understanding of geochemistry. Dr. Elena Petrova, a material scientist from the University of Tehran, joined the team on day 51. She ran her own battery of tests. every single one confirmed the initial findings. She even used a mass spectrometer, a more precise instrument. The results were identical. This was not a fluke. Consider the implications for a moment. This object, 10,200 years old, was crafted from materials that simply shouldn't exist on Earth in that specific configuration. What does that tell you about its makers? It forces us to question everything we thought we knew about early human technological capabilities. Nobody talks about this part of the discovery. They focus on the age, the location, but the material science, that's the real secret. And here's where it gets even stranger. The bronze alloy, while thousands of years ahead of its time, was still identifiable as bronze. It contained copper and tin, along with other trace elements. But the gear mechanism itself, that was different. It was a metal, yes, but its isotopic ratios, the precise balance of its atomic components, were unlike anything found in our solar system. Dr. Thorne contacted Dr. Mei Lin, a renowned astrophysicist at the California Institute of Technology. He shared the raw data with her on a secure line. Her initial reaction was disbelief, then a profound curiosity. She spent 3 weeks analyzing the isotopic signatures, cross-referencing them with known meteorite compositions, and even samples from lunar missions. On day 78, Dr. Lin delivered her verdict. The isotopic profile of the gear material did not match any known naturally occurring element or alloy on Earth, nor did it match any extraterrestrial samples catalogued by NASA or the European Space Agency. This was a metal from somewhere else. You are now staring at an object that defies terrestrial classification. It's not just old, it's alien, and it was found embedded in a cliff face, suggesting it was there before the rock formed around it. Think about the energy required to forge such a material. Imagine the technology. This wasn't just a sharp flint tool. This was precision engineering on a scale we barely comprehend today. The official report, the one filed with the Iranian ministry, made no mention of these isotopic anomalies. It described the object as a The one filed with the Iranian ministry made no mention of these isotopic anomalies. It described the object as a complex metallic inclusion. That is it. No mention of the alien materials. This crucial omission raises a chilling question. Why the deliberate cover-up? What did they not want the world to know? You are looking at evidence of a sophisticated deception. The initial assessment, that the object was simply a unique metallic inclusion, was a carefully constructed lie. This lie allowed the Iranian authorities to control the narrative. It allowed them to control access. Think about the implications of such a discovery. A 10,200-year-old artifact made of non-terrestrial materials. This would fundamentally alter our understanding of human history. It would rewrite every textbook. Dr. Thorne knew this. Dr. Lin knew this. Yet the official channels remained silent. Why? And here's where it gets even more disturbing. Dr. Thorne's team, still reeling from the material analysis, shifted their focus to the object's function. They needed to understand what this ancient machine actually did. The intricate gears, the polished surfaces, these were not decorative. They served a purpose. They were a mechanism. But for what? Dr. Thorne initiated a series of micro-CT scans. These scans provided detailed three-dimensional images of the internal structure, revealing components too small to see with the naked eye. The resolution was extraordinary. What they found inside defied all expectations. Deep within the core of the artifact, protected by layers of bronze and alien metal, was a tiny, perfectly preserved crystalline structure. It was approximately 2 millimeters in diameter, a jewel-like component. Dr. Thorne immediately contacted Dr. Anya Sharma, a renowned quantum physicist at the Max Planck Institute for Solid-State Research in Germany. He shared the micro-CT data and the material analysis. Dr. Sharma's initial response was a mix of awe and skepticism. She specializes in quantum entanglement and advanced computing materials. This was her field. She spent 2 weeks analyzing the crystalline lattice structure. Her findings were presented to a closed group of scientists on day 98 of the expedition. The crystal, she reported, exhibited properties consistent with a quantum memory device, a storage unit, capable of holding information at an atomic level. This was not just a machine. It was a data repository. Imagine that, an ancient hard drive, 10 millennia old. What information could it possibly hold? And how would one even begin to access it? Nobody in the room had an answer. This was beyond their current technological capability. The implications sent a shiver through the assembly. This tiny crystal, smaller than a grain of rice, could contain answers that would shatter our perception of the past, or perhaps reveal a future we cannot yet conceive. The team struggled with the ethical dilemma. To activate such a device, if it were even possible, could have unforeseen consequences. What if it was a warning, or a message not meant for human eyes? The official report, released to the public, stated the object was non-functional and of unknown purpose. This was another lie. The public was told it was an inert curiosity, but the truth was far more complex. The crystal was dormant, yes, but its potential was immense, and they knew it. The decision was made by a consortium of international agencies, including the Iranian Ministry of Heritage and several unnamed European powers. The artifact was to be sealed, stored in a deep underground vault. Its existence, and especially its true nature, was to remain classified. You might wonder why. Why hide something so profound? The answer, according to a leaked memo from the Iranian ministry, was global stability concerns. The memo, dated 104 days after the discovery, outlined fears of societal collapse, fears of religious upheaval. What if this machine contained knowledge that contradicted every major belief system on Earth? What if it spoke of creators beyond our understanding? The fear was not of the machine itself. The fear was of the truth it might reveal. And this is where the story takes a dark turn. Dr. Eris Thorne, the man who first identified the object, was removed from the project. His research funding was cut. He was effectively silenced. Dr. Elena Petrova and Dr. Mei Lin also found their careers hampered, their reputations subtly undermined. Anyone who spoke too loudly about the true nature of the discovery faced similar consequences. This pattern is well documented. What does that tell you? It suggests a deliberate, coordinated effort to suppress information, an international conspiracy of silence. This wasn't just about protecting society. It was about controlling knowledge, controlling power. The artifact, this 10,200-year-old machine, now sits in an undisclosed location, its secrets locked away. But you know the truth now. You know about the alien metal. You know about the quantum memory, and you know about the crystal waiting to be activated. The question remains, what if someone, somewhere, is trying to activate it right now? Somewhere is trying to activate it right now. That question, a whisper in the back of your mind, became a chilling reality for Dr. Eris Thorne. He knew the crystal held immense power. He had seen the fear in the eyes of officials. The deliberate silencing of the original discovery team was not just about control. It was about preventing exactly this scenario. Dr. Thorne, the man who first held the impossible object, found himself trapped in a web of official denials. His research funding, once robust, evaporated. His name was quietly removed from academic papers. You can imagine the frustration. To be so close to rewriting history, only to be pushed aside. It's a bitter pill to swallow. Dr. Elena Petrova, the materials scientist who confirmed the alien composition, faced similar professional exile. She was denied tenure. Her grant applications were consistently rejected. Her colleagues, once eager collaborators, began to avoid her. She saw her life's work unraveling. And for what? For speaking the truth about a 10,200-year-old artifact. This is the human cost of such a profound secret. The official narrative that the object was merely a non-functional metallic inclusion became the accepted truth. But you know better. You know about the quantum memory, the non-terrestrial metals. You know about the crystal. This widespread campaign to discredit the scientists involved was meticulously orchestrated. Documents reveal a pattern of targeted character assassination. Subtle, insidious. No direct threats, just a methodical dismantling of their careers. Dr. Mei Lin, the astrophysicist who identified the alien isotopic ratios, suddenly found her theories on exotic matter dismissed as fringe science. Her once stellar reputation was tarnished. She saw her research team shrink. Her access to powerful telescopes revoked. Think about the pressure these individuals were under. Their professional lives were being systematically destroyed, all because they dared to report what they found. What would you do in their position? Would you fight? Or would you succumb to the quiet pressure? The leaked memo from the Iranian ministry, dated 104 days after the discovery, cited global stability concerns. But was it really about societal collapse? Or was it about maintaining a specific version of history? A version where humanity evolved without external influence. A version where we are alone. The official story is always cleaner, simpler, but the truth, as you have seen, is far more complex, far more unsettling. And here's where it gets truly personal. Dr. Thorne, undeterred by the professional backlash, continued his own private investigation. He believed the crystal held a message, a warning, or perhaps a guide. He dedicated his life to understanding it. He pored over ancient texts. He studied forgotten languages. He tried to reverse engineer the object from memory. He worked in secret, alone. This was not a pursuit of fame or fortune. This was a man driven by a profound sense of responsibility. He felt the weight of that 10,200-year-old secret. He heard the echoes of a lost civilization. He saw the potential. The official report stated the artifact was sealed in an undisclosed location. But Dr. Thorne, through his network of old colleagues and a few sympathetic insiders, learned the truth. The machine was not merely stored. It was being studied, covertly, by a consortium of international agencies. The very same agencies that silenced him. Imagine that betrayal. The object he found, the truth he uncovered, now used against him. The fear was not just of the truth. It was of who controlled that truth and what they might do with it. The crystal, that tiny, perfect structure, was not just dormant. It was a ticking clock, and someone, somewhere, was trying to wind it. Dr. Thorne knew he had to act. He knew he had to warn the world. But how do you warn a world that refuses to listen? How do you reveal a truth that powerful institutions have worked so hard to bury? The answer, he realized, lay not in official channels. It lay in the shadows. He started feeding information, bits and pieces, to journalists, to independent researchers, to anyone who would listen. He became a ghost, a whisper. His life, once dedicated to geology, now became a mission to expose the greatest secret of human history. The stakes were immense. His freedom, his life. But for him, the truth was worth any price. This was his final stand. And he was not alone. What would you risk for a truth that could change everything? It's not an idle question. For Dr. Eris Thorne and the small network of scientists who joined his cause, the answer was everything. They risked their careers, their reputations built over decades of peer-reviewed research, and in at least 2 documented cases, their personal safety. Think about that for a moment. All to bring a whisper of this truth to light. And yet, despite their sacrifice, the official story remains unchanged. A non-functional curiosity of unknown purpose. The public record is a wall of silence. But the questions leaked by Thorne's network refuse to go away. They echo in quiet corners of the internet, in hushed conversations between academics. Here's the part that nobody in power wants to discuss. We see gears from 10,200 years ago, and we think engine. We see a quantum crystal, and we think computer. We are projecting our own ambitions onto it, our own desires for power and information. But this assumes the creators thought like us. What if we have been asking the wrong questions all along? What if the machine was never meant to be a tool? Not in the way we understand tools. A hammer builds a house, but it can also break a window. Our technology is a reflection of this duality, of our own capacity for creation and destruction. The governments who concealed this discovery saw only the potential for a weapon, a source of unparalleled power, a truth so disruptive it had to be buried. They saw the hammer. They completely missed the house. But consider another possibility. Imagine finding a single, perfectly preserved musical note, frozen in amber. A note from a symphony composed 10 millennia ago. Would your first instinct be to ask how to weaponize it? Or would you stand in awe and wonder about the song it once belonged to? This object might not be a history book filled with facts and figures. It might not be a schematic for a starship. It could be something far more profound, a piece of art, a philosophical equation, a warning, or perhaps a single perfect note from a song about the universe. The existence of the machine itself is the message. Its purpose was not to give us answers. Its purpose was to make us ask the questions, to force a species obsessed with the immediate, the trivial, the profitable, to look up, to consider the vastness of time, and to confront our own place within it. For 10,000 years, that crystal has been silent, waiting, not for a specific technology to unlock it, but for a species mature enough to listen, ready to hear a truth that is not about dominance, but about connection. The machine has shown us a reflection of an almost unimaginable past. It holds up a mirror, and in it we see our own fear, our own greed, our own wonder. The choice of what to do next is ours. The story of this object is not over. In fact, it has just begun.